So the goal of this video is to help you overcome your anxiety disorder and give you some advice right now that can start to change your life and change your outlook on life and your outlook on yourself and your understanding of anxiety as it is in your life, okay? The question on the screen says, are you a victim of anxiety disorder? And I'm going to suggest to you that if you believe you're a victim to anxiety, then you're not going to heal, okay? Because victims do not heal. And I'll get into that as we go along, okay? So the first thing we have to understand and identify is what is a victim. So a victim will basically ask themselves questions in their own mind, their mind chatter, the inaudible voice in your head. They'll ask themselves questions like, why is life so unfair? Why do bad things always happen to me? What if I embarrass myself in a particular situation? Or why do I always have to feel so afraid as if they have no control over their fear? Why am I such an anxious person? Okay, why me? Why blah, 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 okay? Poor me, okay? That kind of mentality. The victim mentality is what I'm going to refer to it here on out. So maybe you don't even realize you're asking yourself these questions, but that's where you got to start to slow down, examine your own thoughts, and you got to catch them, okay? And you got to start catching them and say, okay, that's a victim thought. I don't want that anymore, and I'm going to replace it with something, okay? And we'll get on to more of that in a second. So, okay, so now you know what it means to be a victim, and basically, if you want to overcome your anxiety, you got to stop being a victim. So let me give you one piece of key information that's going to help you deal with that and understand that, internalize this teaching. Okay, and here's a profound statement. Here it is. What you consciously focus on is what you experience. I'll say it again. What you consciously focus on, or what you think about in your mind perpetually, is what you experience, or how you view the world, how you feel, how you view yourself. Okay? Now, the New Age teachers call this the law of attraction, okay? And they have all these bells and whistles and all these things. The more you think about something, the more you attract it into your life. Garbage. It's just this simple statement I'm sharing with you right now, and it's common sense. The more you think about something, the more you think about achieving a goal, the more action you're going to take to achieve that goal, and you'll experience the success that comes with that. Whereas if you don't think about it, you're not going to, quote-unquote, attract it into your life, okay? So again, understand this. Internalize it. What you consciously focus on is what you experience. Huge, absolutely huge, very basic, common sense, but you got to realize this, okay? Okay. The implications of this are huge. Let's go into one of the many implications, but I want to just refer to the questions that you ask yourself in your mind, because we're always asking questions, whether you realize it or not. But the more you start to observe your own thoughts, you realize you do ask quite a few questions throughout the course of a day. Okay, again, we're talking about your self-talk, your inner dialogue, okay? So I want you to think about what questions do you ask yourself, and what do those questions do for you? Okay, so let's go to what I want to call the crux now, this kind of whole teaching here. The questions you ask yourself. Tony Robbins once said, and he's a self-help guru teacher, I'm sure you've heard of him, he said the quality of the questions you ask yourself is indicative of the quality of your life. Basically, the better questions you ask yourself, the better off you're going to be. Okay, so let's just take an example right now of maybe someone, say an older individual who is contemplating going back to school, and let's say that person also has low self-esteem. Okay, so just to give a little real-life example to these qualities or characteristics of questions. So for this individual, the questions they ask themselves, okay, is going to determine whether or not they're going to, go back to school or not, and succeed or not. So are they constructive questions or destructive questions? For instance, is this individual asking, well, gee, why am I so stupid? Okay, and this is where the second major part of this teaching is here. I don't have it written down on the screen. But here's the deal. When you ask your brain something, whatever you ask it, it's going to find an answer, okay? That's why the question is so important. You see what I'm saying? So, this is why it's important to have constructive questions as opposed to destructive questions. It's just the way your brain works, okay? Trust me. Think about it, okay? So you ask yourself, why am I so stupid? Instead of finding answers and doing good things for yourself and building on the next thought that's going to help you out, you're just going to bog yourself down now, okay? So why am I so stupid? So now your brain's going to give you a million questions, a million answers as to why you're so stupid. You dropped out of school early, you didn't do this, you never read, blah, blah, blah. Whereas, what if you ask yourself the question instead, okay, Because everything starts with a thought, okay? So start it right, okay? Start it with a seed that's going to bloom, that's going to blossom into something big. So instead of asking, why am I so stupid, simply change the question to, well, how can I become more educated or more smart? You know what I mean? And then your brain's going to say, well, you can do this. You can go back to school. You can start reading this. You can start doing this, etc., etc. Get it? Okay? So everything starts with a thought. So start the thought right, okay? The thoughts, maybe for this particular individual, let's go to the second one, reality-based versus make-believe. Okay, what if they start saying, well, I'm so old, I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb, how am I going to deal with the embarrassment, blah, blah, blah. And that's going to lead to a lot of anxiety. Anxiety is just thinking about stupid future things that probably never going to come past anyways. So, whereas opposed to that, you could come up with the reality-based question, well, okay, if it's concerned that I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb and I'm too old or whatever, you can start asking yourself, well, what can I do to identify better with, the younger population or the student population, okay? Maybe I can do X, Y, or Z, you know what I mean? So again, start with a good question. Positive versus negative. Maybe this person says, well, what if I fail? Oh no, blah, blah, blah. And your brain's going to give you a bunch of answers as to why you're going to fail. Oh no, I'm going to fail. Poor me. Victim, victim, victim. No, ask a different question. How can I succeed? Okay, and that's going to say, well, you study, you do this, you read that, you do this, blah, 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 blah. Again, your brain is going to answer the question, so ask a good question. Sorry, it's so obvious, okay? And I was bogged down for 27 years with this, where I just was pre-programmed to ask stupid questions, okay, or negative questions that just totally limited my life, okay? So, and again, is the question efficient or productive, or does it bog you down? I think I kind of already went through that. It's implicit in the other examples I gave. So basically, on the left-hand side here, if you ask constructive, reality-based, positive, efficient, productive questions, you're going to be a very healthy individual, okay? You're going to come from a place of power. You're going to solve problems. You're going to find answers, as opposed to asking bad questions, okay, that are destructive, negative, anxiety-ridden. They're going to bog you down, that make you a victim, okay? And you're powerless. You report problems instead of solving them, and you just got excuses, okay? And I'm a manager at my primary job, and I don't appreciate problem reporters. I like problem solvers, and any employer out there is going to agree with me 100%. Okay, so what's the bottom line? Bottom line is this. You probably figured it out already, but I'll just go over it explicitly. Okay, since what you focus on or what you think about is what you experience or what you feel, why not direct your attention on questions that will empower you? Duh, winning. Seriously, it's just ridiculous. It's just so simple, okay? It's not easy because it takes a lot of reflection and thinking about it, okay, and reflection. I just said that. But anyways, you know what I mean, okay? It takes a lot of time, but it's well worth it, okay? Because you have all these thoughts that are already going on in your head anyways. You start catching all these bad questions you're asking, okay? And you replace them with better ones. And you say, okay, I don't want to go down this road. Everything starts with a thought, remember. So you want to go somewhere, think about your thoughts. You got to start with the right thoughts, and you got to start with the right questions, okay? All right, so let's get to a practical exercise for this, which you can probably figure out already, but get a pen, pencil, paper. Make a list of your losing questions or your limiting questions or your victim questions, whatever you want to call them. Okay, maybe that's all your questions right now. I know at a certain point it kind of was for me. I was a warrior, not a warrior, a warrior. Okay, and I would just think about the worst case scenarios, and then I just whip myself into a frenzy and just all sorts of anxiety and just terrible, inefficient, stupid. Okay, and then make a list of alternative questions that you think address the same issues, but you can frame it in a positive, winning way, okay, efficient way, a productive way, whereby you actually achieve what you want to achieve anyways, okay, and stop limiting yourself by limiting questions, okay, and decide. So again, you decide today, you decide tomorrow, you decide next week, you decide next month, okay. So how much you want to get into this? This little exercise here can change your life, but you really got to put a lot of time in if you wanted to. But again, it's all becoming aware of what the problem is. Problem is you're a victim, okay? You got to eradicate that mentality. You do so by identifying it, and then those thoughts that you have, you say, no, don't want to have you. No, I want to have this thought. And it's repetition, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. Then you can throw away the pen and pencil and paper, and it just comes to you automatically, as it has for me now, and it's awesome, okay? It takes some time. Could be months. I don't know. Whatever. But just do it, okay? Because it's going to help you. If you like this kind of info, I got more at my website, anxietydisorder.com, and I will see you again pretty soon.